What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Wolf Naruto and Hana? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. It was an unnaturally cold day in Konoha and for Fire Country in general, the first time in over a century it snowed in mid-August. The majestic trees lost their leaves and the small creatures taking shelter from the elements. But a small family of wolves that were being hunted. Luckily they lost their hunters but at a cost, the mortal injury for the wolf mother, her pups who were trying their best to lick her wounds and surround her to protect her and hope that she would survive the ordeal. Little did they know that a similar event was happening inside the great village of the Hidden Leaf. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki is once again running not for his life but just from the stares and hostile glares he receives from all the villages bar the few precious people he has. They can all be counted on his hand: Old Man Hokage, Old Man Tuchi, Ayame-chan. The Inuzuka clan, granted a whole clan but most are neutral but will help if attacked, and the owner of the Dragon's Den Shinobi clothing and weapons store. Anyway, Naruto is heading for the east gate, which he has figured out is the least guarded. Upon the gate coming into view he notices that there are no guards, so deciding to go for another one of his little strolls through the forest to clear his mind of things that happened to him, all the while still not being able to figure out what he has done to receive so much hate that he is ostracized from everyone except his precious people. While thinking about his treatment, Naruto picks up an oh so familiar smell of blood. Picking up his pace and following the smell, he starts to hear whining and growling from the other side of some bushes. Figuring it could be one of the Inuzuka dogs that got out and hurt itself, he kept going to see if he could help it out. Naruto, even though young next Tsunade sort of, stumbling through a bush that hadn't died because of the harsh winter cold. The sight that greeted Naruto was enough to chill his blood. A set of yellow golden piercing eyes staring right at him, the eyes of a trained hunter and killer. Looking closer he can see great pain, sorrow and regret. The wolf felt all these things because she won't be there for her pups to help nurture them to become great animals of the hunt, to hone their abilities and watch them grow and have a family of their own. I wonder if this boy could raise my pups for me. Sniffing the boy's scent, interesting, he smells of both dog and fox. While she was wondering if this boy could help her pups, Naruto looks into the piercing gaze of all the pups, seeing innocence, anger and sadness. Anger at the bastards who attacked them. Innocence never making a kill on a hunt before, and sadness that they could potentially lose their mother. After taking it all in, he pulls out some bandages and a first aid kit. He starts to walk slowly forward without fear whilst trying not to make any jerky movements. His actions elicited a growl from the pups but were quickly quieted by their mother. Upon getting close enough he notices the wound is very deep and that he isn't able to do anything for her, thinking, the wound, it is too deep, I can't do anything. He looks at the wolf mother with apologetic eyes about to voice his thoughts, when a soft motherly tone chimes across the small clearing as she starts to talk to him. Child, I have come to the same conclusion as you have, not being fazed at all by the fact that she just spoke cause he is used to listening to Kuromaru Sun's wolfhound talk. Notes the sadness again but this time in her speech. I can still help, I can quickly go get one of the Inuzuka vets to stitch you up so you and your pups can return to your pack. Now surer than ever she can trust him to look after her pups cause of his current display she can tell he has a kind unwavering spirit, undying loyalty and a heart of gold. Child, my name is Moonflower. Google Translate. What is yours, Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki, Maelstrom. Hey, strong name. May I ask of you a favor, young Uzumaki? Before you answer please listen to my offer. Nodding his head saying he understands, and for her to continue, I am Moonflower, beta female wolf of the Northern Wolf Clan, beg you to look after my pups and train them, so they can help you in battle. I would also bestow upon you the ability to talk to both wolves and dogs. Assimilating all that she has said, looks at her with a fiery determination. I, Naruto Uzumaki, understand and agree to look after your puppies, but how would you give me the gift of speaking to them and the dogs of the Inuzuka clan? Nodding in understanding at his skeptically, answers his question. Thank you, Naruto, and I agree with being skeptical about my gift to you. To put it simply, I would bite your forearm and transfer part of my chakra to you, and you would then gain the ability to talk to my pups and by proxy any canine you come across. You may gain sharpened fang-like canines and claws. Maybe enhanced physically to be more agile yet a stronger than normal muscular build. Your senses will also increase to that of a wolf. Before I forget these abilities, you will be able to pass this to your children when you get to that stage in life. Also, I know in human laws that sometimes you can be forced to have multiple wives. I tell you this now, you will not take more than one, and in the act ahem you will mark them for life. Now do you understand what is involved? Do I have your consent to do this? Telling him all he needs to know and asking if he still agrees. Understanding this, but to make sure he does, he runs it by her quickly. So I will gain wolf-like features and abilities and will only take one mate in my life, but if she dies I can take another, correct? Simply speaking, yes. Do you agree to this? She says as she winces in pain. Looking at the pups, then at Munfarawa, nods his head and holds out his arm for her to bite. Seeing this, she bites down, quickly injecting her chakra into him. Once she releases him from her bite, she saw his teeth start to turn into fangs. His eyes stay blue, but become slightly more wolf-like. His whisker marks become more defined and his nails turn into wicked-looking claws. While this is happening, his senses are enhancing, increasing his sense of hearing, smell, eyesight and taste to that of a wolf. His hair becomes shaggy and thicker, almost like fur but still spiky. All in all, his slight transformation was completed in around 10 to 15 minutes. Sped up by the fox, Naruto, turning back to the wolf family, asks Munfarawa what the names of her pups are. Because of their age and that we have been on the run, I have not been able to name them. You are their guardian now. It is you who shall name them. She chokes out sadly with tears at the corners of her eyes. Well, would you like to help me? After all, it's the least I can do since you are giving me a family, a pack and more people precious to me, said Naruto caringly. I thank you, Naruto, for this, turning slightly and calls out, children, come meet your new father so we can both give you your names. With that, the pups come out from behind their mother. Once they are properly in Naruto's presence, they bow their heads in submission, once feeling his alpha aura, which doesn't go unnoticed by Naruto or Munfarawa. Seeing this, Naruto kneels down in front of them and gently tells them, please do not bow before me. No pups of Munfarawa or my surrogate pups will bow to anyone. As our family grows, you and your future puppies will stand by me and my family as equals. Do you understand? He asked in a gentle and calming voice befitting a 5-year-old child. Getting what can only be what he thought were nods from all of them, figuring they can't speak due to their age. Noticing 2 males and females, Naruto points to one of the male on the left. Seeing that his fur coat is various shades of black and gray mixed together, says out loud, how about Odoricage? Dancing Shadow, getting a nod from the pup and mother, he moves to the next pup, a female with a white coat that when it catches the sunlight looks like she is shimmering and glowing like the goddess Amaterasu. How about Senko, Shimmering Light? Which gets a happy bark and a lick on the cheek. He then pats her between the ears. Looking at the next wolf pup, can't think of a name. He looks over at Munfarawa for help and she suggests Masuto Ashi, Mist Paw. Because of her black coat and white and gray paws, this got a wet nose pressed against his own. Looking at the last pup, the other male, he has a black pelt with a jagged white stripe following his spine. Naruto, looking again at Munfarawa, says Shomei, lighting. Upon naming all of their pups, they gather round Munfarawa to say their goodbyes and wait for her shade to leave the plains of the living and join Amaterasu and Kami in heaven. After what seemed like a lifetime, but was really only an hour, Munfarawa finally succumbed to her wounds. Her last words were, be strong and loyal to your pack, bow to no one and know that I will always love you. Upon her last words, Naruto and his new pack let loose a mournful howl that traveled for miles in each and every direction, sending chills down everyone's spines. Kuromaru and the other dogs in the village join in the mournful cry to say they are not alone, as more wild wolves in the area also heed the cry of a mighty lost soul to their spirit mother Amaterasu. The call was heard by the heavens as well to denote her arrival to the gods. The call was, may Lady Amaterasu answer our call and shatter the wicked souls who caused this death. May the sun burn brightly to restore our warmth. Grant upon us the power of our mistress Amaterasu in heaven. We are wolves. The howling continued for another hour, but the lament stopped after of Munfarawa's death by the wolves and dogs in the area. Sume and the rest of the Inuzuka clan are gathered round their dogs, wondering what caused them to howl and lament. The pregnant silence continued to grow until Sume, the clan head, spoke up. Kuromaru-kun, what's wrong? She asked gently. A life of a powerful female wolf has ended. Her pups call out for vengeance along with all the other wolves in the area. As you know, we dogs compared to them are considered betas and them alphas. We were answering their call and mourning her death with rest of them. Also I feel it prudent to tell Lord Hokage that the wolves will be restless over the next few months until the killer or killers are found. The only people they will not attack will be our clan. Should any attacks happen to them, the four mighty wolf clans will join as one: the north, south, east and west clans. In other words, we are screwed entirely if that should happen, says Kuromaru. Understanding what has happened, Sume calls for Kobo and his partner to go tell the Hokage of this development, with a message: any who are not of the Inuzuka should not travel beyond the walls because the wolves are getting restless and will attack any who could pose a threat. With that done, Sume and Kuromaru and any other part wolf companions follow her out into the forest to find where the death happened. Meanwhile, Naruto, Odorikage, Senko, Masuto Ashi and Shomei are making their way back to the village. Odoru and Shomei on his left and Senko and Masuto on his right, walking through the forest. After about 30 minutes, all four of the pups form a ring around Naruto, growling, until Sume and 5 wolfhounds come crashing through the forest undergrowth, only to come face to face with Naruto and his 4 pups. While Sume stands in front of him about 5 meters away from his group, the wolfhounds start to circle, wondering why these pups are not bowing in the presence of elders and growling at them. One of the wolfhounds speak in barking, "Bow, you runts," he growled out. "My pack mates bow to no one since their mother's dying wish. You should be the ones to bow to me." "An alpha," said Naruto in a commanding tone, as much of one possible for a 5-year-old. While he was speaking, he started to exude his power and presence, as if on Kuromaru and the other 3 bows, shocking Sume and the other wolfhound, who finally feels his presence and bows too. Naruto then commands gently, "Odoru, Senko, Masuto, Shomei, heal, they will not hurt us anymore." Still in slight shock, Sume stutters out, "Nah, nah. Naruto, is that you?" "Hiya Sume-chan, well you see the thing is," after 45 minutes of explaining himself to her and telling her all the details because he trusts her, she understands and says, "Naruto, I am making you an honorary Inuzuka, but because you have wolves instead of dogs you can create your own branch of the clan if you like. You will be moving into the clan compound. Because you aren't a full Inuzuka, you have to come up with a symbol that separates you from us, so there aren't any mix-ups, okay?" says, smiling, seeing Naruto's face light up like Christmas. "Really, yeah, I'm really happy, but can we go back to the compound? It's kind of cold out here. Then we can talk about this there in front of a fire. Could you please help me bring Munfarawa body so we can give her a proper send-off?" says Naruto, but the last part in a whisper. "Yes, we can. By the way, what wolf clan did she come from?" Sume asks while they start walking in the direction of Munfarawa. He smiles. "She was the beta female and sister of the northern clan alpha male." Sume thinking, well, the pups look strong for being a couple of months old, but I can't help but wonder what is going to happen in the future. An hour and a half later, on a makeshift stretcher, Munfarawa is being carried by Sume and Naruto, being flanked by the wolf pups and the wolfhounds taking point in the rearguard. Sume tells Kuromaru to go ahead and tell the clan to gather for burial and to welcome 5 new members. Upon arrival the site, they are met with as tragic Hikari Kiba and Kuromaru in the front, with Sume directly behind holding the stretcher with Naruto and Munfarawa on it dead. Behind them is Odoru Kage and Shomei directly behind him. Behind them is Senko and Masuto Ashi, followed by Kami Sori and Doraashi. An hour later, after the women sort out Munfarawa body for cremation, Hana, a 6-year-old girl, the daughter of Sume and elder sister to Kiba, age 4, walks up to Naruto as they are placing Munfarawa body on the pyre and says, "Hi, I'm Hana. While we were cleaning her body we removed 2 of her fangs and some of her fur, and I made you this necklace to remember her by," she says as she hands him a necklace with a slight blush on her face. The necklace made out of a thin chakra-infused thread so it won't break easily, and the fangs hanging either side of a chunk of fur. "Thank you, Hana. I'm Naruto, by the way, but you probably already knew that this necklace is beautiful. It will remind me of who gave me a pack to live for and protect, a symbol of protection and a reminder to treat my own flesh and blood with compassion and love. Again, thank you, Hana. You have no idea what this means to me and the pups here," as he says that he gives her a hug, which she happily returns. As they finish the hug, the sound of 20 war drums fill the air with a slow throbbing beat like that of a heart. Da-dum. Da-dum, da-dum. The sound fills the air, then the skies, as if heeding the call of their masters, become cloudy and dark and begin to weep tears of sorrow for the fallen. The drums continue the mournful melody of death. Da-dum. Da-dum, Da-dum. The whole clan begin to chant for the lost soul as one, creating an ever more depressing atmosphere. The children begin to cry in anguish as the adults continue their chant. Autumn wind of eve, blow away the clouds that mass over the moon's pure light, and the mists that cloud our mind. Do thou sweep away as well. Now we disappear. Well, what must we think of it? From the sky we came. Now we may go back again. They continue this chant till it is barely coherent, all this mixed in with the howls of the dogs and wolves for a lost comrade and mother. Once the chanting is over, the drums continue to beat da-dum. Da-dum, da-dum, and finally nothing. An eerie silence reigns over everything. Not one person dare break the quiet and mourning of the dead. The heavens continue to weeping for the lost. They watch as Naruto places a torch on the wood at Munfarawa head and tail, watching as the wood goes up in flames until her body catches fire, where the flames intensify into a white inferno. Sume finally breaks the silence. The brighter the flame, the stronger and kind-hearted the soul, proving she is worthy of joining Kami and Amaterasu in the halls of heaven. And with that said, the clan slowly disperse back to their home for the night. The only person left is Naruto, watching as Munfarawa, the only one to put so much faith in him, goes up in flames to join her ancestors. The others are the pups, watching also as their mother leaves them, but then they look at their new father, Naruto, the man that will protect them from anything. Watching from the door of her house is Hana. She watches as Naruto looks on at the raging inferno with his new companions. In the background, Sume is consoling her youngest Kiba, who is still crying. As she looks out towards the door, she sees her daughter staring at Naruto with sadness and something of comfort and happiness, which someday she feels in the future will turn into love. When that day come, Naruto, please look after my little girl, Sume thinks to herself. After 15 minutes he turns around, followed by the pups, walks towards Sume's house to discuss becoming part of the clan and gaining an even larger family as a result. The next morning everyone is up and about, going about their normal activities, while Sume is leading Naruto, Kuromaru and the pups to the Hokage office to talk about the creation of Naruto's clan within the Inuzuka clan and to come up with a symbol for said clan. All the while receiving glares from people as they walk past, but quickly turn away as the 4 quiet large wolf pups growl at them. Entering the Hokage tower, Sume asks if the Hokage is busy. She says he is probably reading that damnable book again while getting some Chunin to do most of the paperwork, unless it is important and specifically needs him to sign, so she waved them through to talk to the Hokage. Knocking on the door to his office and getting a come in as a response, both Sume and Naruto enter with their respective partners in tow. They say, "Good morning, Lord Hokage, Gigi." Sume, being used to Naruto, knows he can call the Hokage that, so she doesn't say anything. The Hokage, with a grandfatherly smile, say good morning also. "What do I owe the pleasure of you too?" In answer, Naruto explains what happened yesterday, leaving out that his changes will be passed to his children in the very distant future, with Sume continuing on from where they met and what transpired in the Inuzuka compound. Nodding and understanding the Hokage, and says, "This isn't the only reason, is it, other than telling me what happened?" With both of them shaking their heads, Sume outlines her offer. He wouldn't be part of the Inuzuka, just a clan, with a seat in the council, but within the Inuzuka for protection until he finds a wife. Cause of his instincts, he won't take multiple wives, just one, and it has to be of his choosing. The Hokage nodding in approval of this suggestion. "So now all we need to do is come up with a symbol and name. Hey Naruto-kun." Naruto nodding his head. "Yata, I was up a long time last night thinking about this, cause wolves are the children of Amaterasu and they are one with nature, both good and evil, good towards their pack and allies and evil towards enemies and threats. I was thinking the yin and yang symbol with flame going around the outside with the kanji for wolf in the middle of it. What do you think, Sume-chan?" Ji-chan, completely gobsmacked by the 5-year-old in front of them, went into such in-depth thinking behind his new clan symbol. They say that is a wonderful idea. Once done, the two take their leave, wishing the Hokage a good day. On the way back to the compound, Naruto asks if they can go shopping for new clothes, which is fine with Sume. Walking into the dragon's den, Naruto sets about getting his new outfit. When he returns from the changing room, he is wearing a skin-tight black shirt with a jacket that has fake fur collar and back to it, and wearing white shinobi anbu pants tucked into black sandals. All in all, he has taken the colors of his pups and put them into one outfit, which makes him look even more feral looking to Sume. After arriving back to the compound, he asks if she can show him how to properly care for the pups, but she tells him she can't at the moment and has to take care of clan business, but says she will get Hana to show him the ropes and show him his new house, which is really just their guest house at the back. About 5 minutes later Hana comes downstairs. She looks like a kid version of herself in the canon, to show him the ropes and to his new fully furnished home. After spending the afternoon together they become good friends and they both start to develop a crush on each other. Unknown to each other, that is. In the afternoon they spend with each other. Hana taught Naruto what to feed the wolf pups and general health care of them. She also helped him get settled in his new home and then spent time playing with their pups and getting to know each other better. Council meeting the next day. Walking into the council chamber with Kuromaru, Sume sees all the other clan heads and the annoyingly loud civilian council taking her seat in the middle between the Aburame and Nara clan heads. She sees the Hokage arrive followed by his two advisors Hamaru and Kaharu. When he sat down the cage began to speak and said, "I would like to start off by saying that yesterday's events have been sorted and do not need to be discussed. It turned out one of the Inuzuka pups got out, was attacked by a rather large wolverine and killed, causing the mother to start howling in distress. Nothing more, nothing less," he finished. Sume just sat there putting on a sad look, playing along with Sarutobi's game, and nodded a little when they all looked at her for confirmation to what was said. Sume, however, was thinking, "Well played, Hokage-sama. Good job in protecting Naruto." The Hokage then continued. But Naruto Uzumaki was in the area after being able to slip away from his Anbu and came upon the scene and managed to chase the wolverine away, thus recovering the body for cremation. Sume then found out what he did and made him an honorary member of the clan, which I support and have made official. I will also not be swayed from my decision on this. When the rest of the council heard this, thought it was amazing. A mere 5-year-old managed to slip away from Anbu and chase off a fully grown wolverine at the same time. That was mainly the shinobi's thoughts, including the advisors, who, unlike what people believe, have nothing against the boy and are happy he keeps the demon at bay. The civilians meanwhile now know the demon child is untouchable and will have to call off the first ever fox hunt they were planning on having on the Nine Tails anniversary. With that all said and done, they really just talked about different village-orientated aspects and concerns. All in all, the meeting took about 2 hours. At the Inuzuka compound, waking up later than usual, Naruto looks to see snuggled up to him are his 4 surrogate children. Giggling to himself, he gets up and makes himself and them breakfast. Smelling the food, the 4 pups bound into the kitchen of the small 1-bed, 1-bath, 1-kitchen, small living area house. Eating breakfast, they go outside only to be confronted by the averagely large female wolfhound Kami Sora, who gives them a wolfish grin and says, "Ah, good you're awake. Sume-sama said that every second day until you graduate from the academy your pups will have to spend the day training and hunting with me, Dorashi, Hikari Kiba and sometimes Kuromaru-sama, along with all the other pups around their age." Smiling, Naruto turns to each of them and says, "You guys be good and learn from Kami Sora-chan here. She will have lots to teach you, okay?" Getting nods from each, then a lick on the face from each before they took off with Kami Sora, who already started trotting off at a sedate pace. When they were gone, Naruto went into the main complex of the clan compound and saw Hana tending a herb garden. Walking over to her, he said, "Hey Hana-chan, do you need any help?" Hana, who was in her own little world, jumped slightly at Naruto's voice, quickly composed herself and looked up from her kneeling position and said, "Nope, I was just finishing up." "Hey, where are Senko-chan, Miss Doashi-chan, Odorikage-kun and Shomei-kun?" she asked, looking round to see if they were close by. Naruto then spoke and said, "Na Sume-chan told Kami Sori that she and the other wolfhounds had to train them every second day until graduation from the academy." Hearing that, Hana smiled and said, "Oh okay, so what you want to do?" Naruto thought for a second and said, "Well, I was thinking since I'm joining the academy in November I should figure out what type of shinobi I want to be, and I decided that I would like to be a medic ninja like Tsunade-sama of the Sanins that Gigi always tells me stories about, so I was wondering if you wanted to come with me to see Hokage Ohasan to talk to him about it. I bet if we ask nicely he will tell us a story as well." Hana was shocked he actually was allowed to call the Hokage an old man. But that was washed away at being able to hear him tell a story about when he was a ninja. She nodded her head. "Right, let's go, this is going to be fun," she said as they sped off towards the Hokage Tower. When they arrived, the secretary, a woman from the Yamanaka clan named Nori, smiled at seeing the duo and said, "Hello Naruto-kun. And this must Sume-sama's eldest Hana. How are you two today?" she asked kindly, as she didn't hate Naruto but thought he was a kind, happy and fun to be around kid. Naruto smiled and waved. "Hello Nori-chan, we're here to see the old man. Is he busy?" he asked excitedly. Nori smiled and said, No, he's not here at the moment, but he will be back in a couple of minutes. How about you go in and wait for him? I'm sure Inu and Tora will be happy to see you," she said with a smirk, picturing the Anbu becoming a mess of laughter and completely the opposite of what Anbu were when Naruto was around. That, and she remembered the earful the old man gave those two the other night after Naruto left with Sume. Hearing that his two favorite Anbu were in there, Naruto grabbed Hana's hand and rushed to the Hokage's office door and proceeded to kick it open and shout, "Inu-chan! Tora-chan, I want you to meet a friend of mine." Back in the waiting area, some of the other Anbu who happened to be females landed besides Nori and said, "Never did I think I would ever think those two would let anyone get away with calling them that." Nori just giggled evilly and said, "Yes, well, Naruto-chan only does it because he can always lose the both of them when they play ninja tag, and I swear he has a censor ability, as the Hokage always appears after he says something to embarrass the two, stopping them from doing anything." Both the kunoichi giggled when they heard the usually calm and lazy Inu yell, "God damn it, Naruto, you're not supposed to announce that we are here." It was quickly followed by a popping sound signaling Sarutobi arrived. In the office, Hana was giggling when the normally very quiet Anbu started shouting back at Naruto, followed by Naruto making fun of them, which ticked them off even more. Before they could go any further, the Hokage arrived via body flicker, only to see Naruto on Inu's shoulders and Tora holding his head in his hands, mumbling why over and over. The two mentioned looked over at the Hokage sheepishly before Naruto jumped off Inu's shoulders back next to Hana, and the two Anbu agents went back to their hiding places. The Hokage looked at Naruto and said, "I do wish you would not mess with my Anbu, but then again you won't listen," said an exasperated Sarutobi, as this wasn't the first time he appeared to something like this happening in his office. Naruto looked at the Hokage and grinned. "You bet I won't listen, it is way too much fun. But anyway, old man, I wanted to know if you had anything on medical stuff, as I decided I want to be a medic ninja. That, and we came for one of your super amazing stories too," said Naruto. Hiruzen looked at the boy for a minute before smiling. "You know, being a medic is hard work and you need really good, and I mean exceptional, chakra control," said the Sarutobi. Naruto gave him a steely look that said, "Bring it. Hey old man, I'm going to be better than even your student Tsunade, so there," said Naruto, getting a chuckle from the elder. Hana meanwhile couldn't believe how casual Naruto was being with the Hokage of all people, for goodness sake. Looking at his desk, Hiruzen saw they were sorted into piles of important Hokage only, semi-important and not important. Seeing the Hokage only pile was actually very small today, called for made 2 clones and ordered them to take the other 2 piles to the Chunin archivist downstairs. When that was done, he motioned for the 2 children to follow him to the comfortable chairs in his office and said, "I'll tell you a story, and then if you wish, Naruto, I will give you a book on chakra control that has all the exercises from academy to cage level, okay?" The 2 children nodded happily at that. After 45 minutes of sitting listening to the old Hokage telling his story about his time as a young boy being trained by the second Hokage, he finished his story. When he finished, he got up while listening to Hana and Naruto talk to each other about his story and what they thought were awesome jutsu. Walking to a door on the other side of his office, he disappeared for a couple of minutes, coming out with a scroll that had the leaf balancing, tree walking, water walking, kunai balancing and spinning, shuriken spinning clockwise and anti-clockwise, senbon levitation and spinning, chakra strings control exercises. Walking over to Naruto, he said, "Now I know you managed to unlock your chakra last year, seeing as you pestered Jiro at the Dragon's Den to show you how to, so here is a scroll of chakra exercises that I want you to work on one at a time until you mastered them, and either myself or Sume-san is pleased with your progress. The techniques within the scroll are written in order of difficulty, so please follow them. Depending on your progress and your behavior in the academy, I will give you a scroll on your birthday with either a medical or non-elemental jutsu within it, okay?" said Sarutobi, looking at the happy eyes of Naruto. "Thanks Gigi, I promise to follow what you said and only move on when you or Sume-chan says so," he said solemnly. He then looked at Hana. "Hey Hana-chan, do you want to learn these exercises with me as well?" asked Naruto with much enthusiasm. Hana, who was feeling a little left out, quickly perked up and agreed, "I would love to learn them with you." Quickly swiping the scroll from the old man, he and Hana dashed out of the office and back to the Inuzuka clan grounds. When they arrived back at the clan grounds, they were met by Sume holding Kiba, who looked at them with a raised eyebrow as if to say, "Where the heck were you two?" Being sort of familiar with that look, Hana spoke, "Hey Ka-chan, we were with the Hokage and he was telling us stories of when he was a genin under Naidame-sama. He also gave Naruto-kun a scroll on various control exercises so he can become a medic, and he asked if I wanted to learn the same things with him, said Hana with much enthusiasm. Sume smiled and said, "Well, if that's the case we should start straight away, let's go," she said as they made their way to the backyard. I say backyard more like the size of a 20-acre block split up with various strands of trees, the odd outcrop of rocks and the couple of rivulets lazily meandering away. Walking to the nearest strand of trees with Kiba holding her hand and Hana and Naruto following close behind, she plucks out 4 leaves and hands them each one and says, "Now Naruto, if you open your scroll I would assume your first exercise is leaf balancing, so what I want you to do is sit down and channel your chakra to point on your forehead and make the leaf stick to it and try and hold it for as long as possible," she said, doing it herself to show them what she meant. Doing what she asked Kiba couldn't do, and Sume said, "Kiba, we need to unlock your chakra first." Naruto the first time figured that he put in too much chakra as the leaf blew off. The second time it slipped off his face, so holding it in place he waited until he thought he had the right amount. After 10 minutes of concentration he let go, the leaf stayed in place, he kept concentrating and was able to hold the leaf for around 5 minutes. Hana meanwhile was struggling to keep the leaf stuck to her forehead for any longer than 1 minute. Sume, seeing they were progressing, said, "When you can do this for 30 minutes or longer you can move on to the tree walking." 2 weeks later, after practicing every morning on the leaf balancing exercise, Naruto was able to hold it for around 35 minutes. Hana could hold it for about 31 minutes and Kiba, who unlocked his chakra, was able to hold it for 12 minutes only because of his age. Sume, being impressed by each of them, said, "Kiba, I want you to continue with the leaf balancing until you can do it for 30 minutes, okay pup?" Kiba nodded and ran off with his new pup Akamaru to do the exercise. Sume then turned to Hana and Naruto and said, "Write the tree walking exercise. You need to direct your chakra to your feet and try and walk up the tree. Too much and you will be blown off, and too little you will simply fall. Now when you can run up the tree 10 times without concentrating." Later that day Naruto was sitting at the table in his little house. The 5-year-old Naruto was getting excited as his birthday was in a week, but he wasn't thinking really about any of that, but was lying on the floor with a scroll and pen with his pup round him. Odorikage was opposite him, Senko was laying on his right. Shomei was lying on the couch and Mistoashi was on his back with her head resting on top of his, looking at what he was writing, which happened to be some jutsu that he could do with his partners. So far he had 2 written down: Wolf's Howl, where he would mold his chakra and release a supersonic howl along with his wolves, hopefully with the target in between them all for maximum damage. In theory, of course. His second was called Wolf Pack Jutsu, where his wolves and himself would create clones of themselves and create a large pack of wolves. Looking up he spoke to Mistoashi. "You got any ideas, girl?" As he rubbed between her ears. Masuto barked a little, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow and say, "Genjutsu, is that something you learned from Kami Sora?" When he said that, Senko licked his face and barked and growled a few times. "So you and Mistoashi can do Genjutsu, and Odoru and Shomei are more frontal attackers. Interesting. I'll make sure to remember that. I'll even get some Genjutsu scrolls and some ninjutsu if you wish." This gained grunts of approval from the males and happy yips from the 2 girls. They conversed with each other long into the night, bouncing ideas off one another. Over the next week Naruto religiously kept at his chakra control like he had been, with the goal of surpassing Tsunade of the Sannin. It was then the day of his birthday. On this day he was woken by that of Senko licking his face to wake him up. Giggling he pushed her off him and got up. Walking into his living room he saw that the Hokage, Sume, Hana and Kiba were there smiling. He yawned and smiled at them. The Hokage stepped forward and said, "Good morning Naruto-kun, sorry for waking you, but I have urgent business today and this was the only time I could see you, and as promised, here is your birthday present," he said as he handed him a scroll. He then bid a quick goodbye. When he left, Hana ran up to Naruto and gave him a quick hug and said happy birthday. Kiba just chimed a quick happy birthday, and Sume, she gave Naruto a hug and wished him a happy birthday before handing him another scroll. She then spoke again. "Tonight we are having a big party with all the clan, like we do with everyone else. Anyway, why don't we get comfortable and open your scrolls?" she said as she sat down on one of the chairs, which was emulated by Kiba and Hana, who were soon joined by Akamaru, Kuromaru, the Haimaru triplets and the 4 wolf pups. Naruto sat down on the ground and opened the scroll the Hokage gave him. Opening it he read the jutsu he was given, Fukumi Hari, Hidden Needles. Rank D. Description: Fakumi Hari is a ninjutsu technique which allows the user to call forth needles into his/her mouth and then spit them at his or her opponent with great accuracy. He then saw a seal at the bottom with a note. This is a gift from Jiro, putting a bit of chakra into the seal when he did a katana sword with a blunted attacking edge but a sharpened reverse edge. It had a wooden handle and simple square bronze crossguard. Lying on the floor next to him was a wooden sheath with a detailed sakura tree blossoming from the tip halfway up the sheath. Smiling, he put the scroll and sword to one side. He opened the scroll Sume gave him. Opening it, he saw a list of jutsu. Beast to human clone. Hand signs Tora, tiger. Human to beast clone. Hand signs Tatsu Tora, dragon tiger. Four legs technique. Hand signs Tora, tiger. Passing fang. Hand signs Tora Tatsu, tiger dragon. Looking at Sume, he looked shocked and said, "Are you sure these are clan techniques?" Sume just smiled and said, "Just to get you started, as I heard from Kuromaru that your pups were trying to make supersonic howl that would destroy an enemy's hearing and hit them with enough force to knock them off their feet. I say it is a good idea, but we are now joined clans, so it really doesn't matter as they are your clan secrets as well," she said with a smirk. Naruto and the other two kids just looked at her in wonder. The rest of the day was spent with the Inuzuka family and the other clan members celebrating his birthday. 2 months later, it was Naruto and Kiba's first day of the academy. Waking up early, Naruto put on his usual clothing and went through his usual morning routine with his wolf pups. Walking out the front door, he thought back to his last couple of months. He alongside Kiba started learning the basic academy jutsu, being able to henge competently, substitute with a little concentration, and the clone he couldn't create less than 10. Making it onto the water walking exercise. He also learned kunai and shuriken throwing, which he found he was pretty good at. He and Kiba, even though he was a year apart, became good friends and got along well. He also thought about how close he and Hana got to one another as well. He even saw Sume as a mother figure. Making it to the front with his 4 wolf pups by his side, he was met by Kiba, who was there with his mother ready to take them for their first day of the academy. Hana would have been going, but with her year was a bit of a field trip. Arriving at the academy, they looked at the class roster and saw like themselves they were with all the clan heirs from the Nara, Aburame, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Hyuga and Uchiha. There were also some civilian clans in the class as well, like the Haruno. Getting into class, they sit in the middle next to the Aburame clan heir they found was called Shino and their sensei Iruka. Most of the students were weary of Naruto and his wolf pups, especially Mizuki, after he tried to give Naruto a test with a genjutsu on it, which was dispelled by Senko, which then caused a chain reaction of all the wolves growling at the man. Iruka after the test went on to explain what be happening over the years until they graduated at age 13. Year 1 to 2. Basic reading, writing, maths. Year 3 to 4. History, the 4 Kage, the Sanin, history of the various nations and geography. Basic science, human anatomy, chemicals and physics. Maths. Year 5 to 8. Ninja skills, taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, kunai, senbon, shurikenjutsu. Chakra theory, the elements and nature of chakra. Basic sealing, calligraphy and basic seal storage seals. After that, Iruka handed out textbooks for the next 2 years. Over the first 2 years, Naruto was at the top of the class in all the subjects. Kiba was placed in the middle of the class, and most of the other clan heirs and some of the civilians sat in the middle bracket except for Shino Aburame, Shikamaru Nara, Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha, who were up there with Naruto in book smarts. The academy for the 3rd and 4th year was interesting for Naruto, especially after learning about the first Hokage Hashirama Senju and Sanin Tsunade Senju, which led him after class to visit the Hokage and ask some questions. The Hokage office. Walking past and waving to Nori as usual, and the now 9-year-old Naruto opened the door to see the old man sitting on a couch in the corner of the room with a scroll. Walking into the spacious office, Naruto called out, "Hey old man, can I ask you a question?" Hearing the name only one person ever gets away with calling him that, the old Hokage smiles. "Ah, Naruto-kun, what is this question you have come to ask me?" Smiling, Naruto takes a seat across from his grandfather and his now very large 4-year-old wolf pups and says, Well, in class we learnt about the first Hokage and Tsunade, and Iruka-sensei said that even when the first was injured he was able to heal it near instantaneously and that he was unparalleled in the healing arts. He also said the same with Lady Tsunade, but she used a rhombus mark on her forehead that when activated allows her to heal extremely. What I was able to figure out was that her mark is some sort of seal, but that was it, and I also wanted to know if there was a way to replicate the first's healing ability and prowess. I thought you would be the best to come to seeing as though you were taught by the first and you taught Lady Tsunade. Finished Naruto with an unusually thoughtful expression as he sat trying to figure it out. Hiruzen was in words pleased that Naruto had come to him seeking more knowledge and said, "Yes, Hashirama-sensei's medical prowess was truly great. I think he told me once that it was because his chakra was so dense and full of vitality that he was able to heal himself without the use of hand signs. He also had amazing chakra control as well, the same with Tsunade-chan, but her healing factor was not the same as his. She was able to emulate it through the use of seals. As you said, she called it the creation rebirth seal." He finished, seeing the look of contemplation on the boy's face. Naruto spoke after a minute. First, is there a chance I could gain the seal? And how do I know if my chakra is dense or not? I mean, I know I have a lot, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that it will be dense unless I concentrated it into a tight mass. Hiruzen, who was listening, said, "Well, for the seal you would have to ask Tsunade, as it is her own technique and her grandmother's before that. Unfortunately she is out of the village and has been for some time. As to what you were saying about your chakra, Hashirama-sensei's was so dense that when he molded his chakra the ground would crack around his feet. But we can test it if you wish," finished Sarutobi with a smile at the mixture of emotions that went across the boy's face: annoyance, doubt and happiness. Hiruzen then told Naruto to stand in the middle of the room and mold his chakra and do it for as long as he could. Naruto, doing as he was told, held the ram sign and closed his eyes and started molding his chakra. At first nothing happened, not that he noticed, but it was about 5 minutes in when he gained a pink hue around himself. Another 3 minutes of continuous molding. The ground around Naruto started to splinter and crack, causing the various wood chips to raise. While this was going on, Naruto was concentrating, but the Hokage, hidden Anbu and the pups who were now lying on the couches were bathed in a warm and soothing yet powerful and commanding atmosphere. Continuing on, after another 2 minutes a couple of floorboards started lifting up off the ground. Seeing what was happening to his office, Hiruzen called out, "Naruto, you can stop now." Hearing his name being called out, Naruto stopped only to hear the sound of floorboards hitting the ground. Opening his eyes, he saw he did in fact have dense chakra, and if Iruka-sensei's lectures were true, his chakra could only get denser as time went on. Smiling, he asked, Now I know I have dense chakra. How will I practice emulating the first Hokage's regeneration ability?" He asked, not really keen on the idea of cutting himself and doing it with trial and error. Hiruzen too was thinking. It wasn't until he thought, "Yes, that will work," he then walked up to Naruto and said, "Now I want you to cut the palm of your hand and focus your chakra to that point." Hearing this, Naruto groaned and voiced his thought as he did as he was told. "I was hoping I wouldn't have to cut myself and be like some sort of self-mutilator," said Naruto with a pout as he sent some chakra to his cut hand, only to lose the pout and have his eyes bug out along with the Hokage and the 2 Anbu as his reasonably deep cut started steaming and closing until there was no indication of there ever being a cut. Looking at the Hokage, he said, "I think I can do what the first could," he mumbled out. Hiruzen, who took a seat, was thinking, "That boy. First, he is the top of the academy with grades not seen since Minato's. He has an uncanny knack for chakra control, already up to the chakra strings exercise and combining the other ones like Tsunade and Kushina. He also has a head for the human body and science like his mother also, and now he has this weird pink chakra that is already so dense, and to top it off he has Sensei's healing ability. When he starts learning some medical jutsu, I am going to have Tsunade come back after he graduates from the academy." Breaking himself of his thoughts, he looked at Naruto, who just spoke, and said, "It appears you do, Naruto." After that, Hiruzen and Naruto chatted a little, and Hiruzen asked how Naruto was doing with the jutsu he gave him on his birthday and how his clan jutsu were coming along. Naruto listed off the ones he could do proficiently. "Well, Gigi, I can do Fukumi Hari, hidden needles, very well now, and hit the target 20 times out of 20 in a moving target 15/20ths. My Giju Ninpo, Jujin Bunshin, beast to human clone, is near perfect, being able to do it without saying the jutsu but still with hand signs. My Giju Ninpo, Kimono Kuron ni Teijuru Hito, human to beast clone, Still needs some work since it is an original and I am still not used to being a wolf yet, but I have been able to change the Academy henge a little to make it work. As you know, the henge is an illusion and will dispel when the target is hit or loses concentration. Mine, however, even when hit, does not dispel. I'm using it as a way to get used to my human to beast jutsu. I also figured my senses are also increased when in the wolf transformation, but Odoru, Senko, Masuto and Shomei are all helping out. The Jiju Ninpo, Shikyaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique, is rather simple as it just makes me more feral looking and boosts my stamina and speed a little. The Suga, Passing Fang, is annoying since all 5 of us attack the same target. If they dodge, we end up not maneuvering out the way quick enough and collide, which hurts. Let's see what else. My original Haringu Okami Hajutsu, Okami to Bo-e Jutsu, Wolf's Howl Jutsu, is working well, but it also affects allies, so that will be a last resort move. I also was able to make a variation of the man-beast clone, but have it so I create solid copies of myself and the pups. Here we call it the Haringu Okami Hajutsu. Okami no Mure Jutsu, Secret Art, Wolfpack Jutsu. Now the 3 jutsu have given me on Ninpo. Hirasuku Kasumi no Jutsu, Stinging Mist technique. That's going well. I can produce some mist, but according to Sume it reminds her of a bad bee sting, so I need to up the potency of the jutsu. The Ninpo, Tesayose no Jutsu, Iron Chain Calling technique. I can manipulate at least 2 chains before things get hard to control, and the Ninpo, Shunshin no Jutsu, Body Flicker technique, is the easiest by far, so much so I don't need hand signs. When he finished, he looked at the time and said, "Sorry Gigi, but I gotta run. Thanks for helping me out by answering my questions. I'll see you soon," said Naruto as he used the Shunshin and left. The elder man sat there digesting what he heard and started laughing when he remembered that Naruto said he could create multiple solid copies of himself, and choked out while slamming his desk during his laughing fit. He created multiple shadow clones and he didn't know it well. I figured out what scroll I'll give him this year for his birthday, and to spice things up I'll give him the mystical palm jutsu as well. Naruto meanwhile was bounding across the rooftops with his wolves at his side, rushing to get back to the compound for dinner, since Sume said he was welcome to dine with them and not that she would actually say she saw Naruto as a son. Naruto, however, was remembering the last time he and Kiba were late for dinner. Man, he swore never to be late ever again. Seeing the front door, he quickly removed his shoes and ran through and sat at the table just as Sume was serving everything up. The reactions from everyone was funny as hell. To Sume 1, Naruto was out of breath, meaning he either ran from the academy after doing extra study or running from the cage tower after asking the Hokage some questions. He also had a look of relief and happiness. Kiba was busting his gut laughing at Naruto. Hana meanwhile was thinking along the same lines as her mother, but was also sneaking looks at him when he wasn't looking. 3 years later. Over the last 3 years of the academy, Naruto excelled in all the fields of the shinobi arts. His ninjutsu and medical ninjutsu shocked Iruka, being able to produce so many low and mid-level jutsu. But he almost fainted when Naruto one lesson showed him a perfected Shozen jutsu, mystical palm, and chakra no mesu, chakra scalpel. His taijutsu wasn't the normal one the academy teaches. His mainly revolved around dodging and lightning fast strikes coordinated with his wolves, who would watch his back when fighting more than one opponent. He could also cast genjutsu shibari, genjutsu binding, Magen, Narukumi no Jutsu, demonic illusion, hell viewing technique, and Kasumi Jusha no Jutsu, mist servant technique. And Fuinjutsu was the art next to medical jutsu that he excelled at. His chakra control was near damn perfect as well. Naruto was also top of the class and a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year, with Sasuke Uchiha close behind. Kiba was sitting comfortably in the middle of the class as far as grades go. Also during the academy years he made friends with Shikamaru, Shino, Choji. Over the years Naruto found he hated Sasuke because of his attitude. He also had a large hate toward what was known as the dreaded fangirls like Sakura and Ino because of their incessant fawning over Sasuke after the Uchiha massacre when they were in their 5th year of the academy, and Hinata, she thought she was a little weird considering how he knew and met her father Hiyashi, who seemed like a strict taskmaster, but also very fair and stoic. Anyway, Naruto was sitting in the academy in his usual spot surrounded by his wolves, who were now quite large, with Odorikage weighing around 78 pounds standing at around 4 feet 9, Shomei 70 pounds and 4 feet 5, and the two females who were pretty much identical in size and weight were 56 pounds and 4 feet 3 in height. Naruto himself was about 5 feet 4 in height and was wearing a long-sleeve black shirt with loose sleeves that are wide at the wrists. Underneath he had a sleeveless mesh armor shirt. He also had a set of gray Enbu pants and white ninja sandals, and his new leaf headband around his forehead. And either side of him was Kiba and Shino. It was about then that the door slammed open revealing Sakura and Ino. Once they both squeezed through the doorway at the same time they both shouted, "Huh, I'm first." They then started breathing heavily. Then Sakura shrieked doing a perfect howler monkey expression, "Looks like Win Ino pig." "Have you always been this delusional billboard brow?" retorted Ino. Sakura then looked and noticed Sasuke and ran over to him pushing multiple civilians over in the process and then shouted, "Sasuke-kun hello," she said as she sat down next to him only to have to start fighting Ino for the sport while Sasuke was trying to ignore the two girls beside him. Meanwhile in the Hokage office, Hiruzen was sitting in front of the crystal ball watching the class with the prospective Jonin sensei Asuma Sarutobi of Team 10, Kurenai Yuhi Team 8, Kakashi Hitaki Team 7 and the other team's sensei watching as well. "So the one with the wolves is the most promising new graduate Naruto Okami, is that him?" asked Asuma. Hiruzen just nodded and said, "Yes, that is him." Kakashi sighed as he watched the crystal ball and thought, "Naruto Okami huh?" Back in the class, Naruto, who was sitting absently patting Masuto Ashi between her ears, heard Odorikage and Shomei growl. Senko then shuffled closer to Naruto. Naruto then looked up and said, "What do you want, Uchiha?" he said airily like the boy was beneath him. Sasuke, hearing his tone, said in a prideful voice, "Okami, give me your sword. Only an Uchiha should be able to wield a blade, not someone from some 2-bit branch clan." Hearing that, all the wolves stood up, hackles raised and started to growl menacingly at him. Naruto smirked, seeing a little fear creep into Sasuke's eyes, waved his hand and said, "Easy guys, he's just ignorant. Oh Uchiha, this sword isn't made for killing, it is a special sword, it is a Sakobatu. Like me, it is the sword of a pacifist." Sasuke just humphed and walked back to his seat. Back with the Hokage. The Hokage sighed as he saw the altercation and said, "Team 7 is going to be interesting to say the least, and as usual Naruto likes provoking people." In the class, Iruka came and stood in front of the class after getting over his shock at nearly dying before went on and delivered his speech before announcing the teams. Naruto tuned the whole thing out and started ruffling Shomei's fur. Naruto, when the speech finished, was listening to Iruka when he said, "Right, Team 1 is." At this point Naruto tuned him out again. When it got to Team 7 he started listening. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Okami and Sakura Haruno. He was about to continue when a loud shout of, "Take that Ino pig, true love conquers all." Naruto was thinking, why old man why? Team 8 Kiba Inazuka, Shino Aburame and Hinata Hyuga. Team 9 is in circulation and Team 10 is Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi and Ino Yamanaka. Now I will leave you to wait for your sensei. It was around then the senseis all arrived and took their teams away except for Team 7's. 2 hours later Naruto was really close to messing up their tardy sensei's nervous system, and he could if he wanted to. Odoru turned and said, "Naruto-kun, if he is going to be continuously late I will, and I speak for all of us, are going to choose a limb each and rip it off," he said in a deep menacing voice, aid the large wolf to his brother figure. Naruto just chuckled and said, "Calm Odoru, he will learn not to be late." Sasuke and Sakura, after hearing the wolf talk, just shook it off and went back to brooding and pacing until she noticed Senko and Mistoashi looking at her with hungry looks. She then decided to sit down and ignore them. It was then the door opened, revealing a masked figure with silver hair walked only to receive fanged grins from Naruto and his wolves that promised pain. Sasuke merely glared at him and Sakura, "You're late," causing everyone to wince. Then Shomei, the eldest of the wolves, spoke in a sardonic tone. "If you screech one more time I will tear you limb from limb." Sakura just shivered, knowing full well he would probably follow through with the threat. Kakashi sighed and said, "Meet me on the roof," and left in a shunshin. Naruto disappeared in a shunshin, also leaving Sasuke and Sakura to run to the roof. On the rooftop, Kakashi appeared, and not a second later Naruto and his wolves appeared next to him with his wolves. Kakashi was surprised but not really, seeing as he was Inu Anbu and was there when Naruto found he had the Shodime's healing ability. Naruto then spoke and said, "Hello Inu-chan, long time no see." Kakashi just laughed and said, "So you're the aspiring medic and sealing prodigy the Hokage was talking about?" Naruto chuckled and said, "Don't give me that, you know as well as I do you were there after all every time I saw the old man. You can't fool my nose or that of my kids here." Kakashi just nodded and agreed. Then Masuto walked over to him and started sniffing him and commented, "Kakashi-sensei, you smell a lot like dogs but none that I know of. You also smell of toads, very strange." Kakashi smiled and ruffled her ears and said, "Well, that would be my summons for the dog smell, and the toad was Jiraiya of the Sannin summon who contacted me before the meeting." Masuto just bobbed her head and went and lay down in the shade with her brothers and sister while Naruto leaned against the wall near them. It was then Sasuke and Sakura arrived. Sasuke jumped and sat on top of a large pole with a wide flat top, and Sakura sat on the steps. Seeing everyone was there, started, "My name is Kakashi Hitaki, now I'll introduce myself, then you guys will go one at a time. Okay, like I said, my name is Kakashi. I have many. I don't have many dislikes and my hobbies and dreams are none of your business." Sasuke and Sakura sweat dropped and thought, "We only learned his name." Naruto just chuckled silently and spoke, "Okay, I'll go. My name is Naruto Okami, my likes are my wolves, you all know them. Medical jutsu, chakra theory and fuinjutsu. I don't have many dislikes and my hobbies are practicing medical jutsu, fuinjutsu and chakra manipulation, and my dream a have a family and surpass Tsunade-sama and Shodai-sama in the field of medicine." Kakashi smiled when he heard that. Sakura looked at him like he was weird and Sasuke looked at him and thought, "He will be useful with his medical skills, but I have seen him train in ninjutsu and taijutsu. He will be helpful in my endeavor to kill him." Sakura went next. All she really did was blush and squeal and look at Sasuke, and Sasuke brooded and claimed how he would kill Itachi. Kakashi then said, "Meet at training ground 7 tomorrow at 7 in the morning. Oh, and don't eat." He then left. Naruto pushed off the wall and said, "Eat breakfast." He didn't order it and come in the mood to work together. "I have a feeling we will need it." He did, then disappeared. Sasuke nodded and walked off. Sakura walked off after Sasuke. That evening, sitting round the table, Hana looks at Naruto and Kiba and asks them about their teams. Kiba goes first and says, "Yeah, my team's all good. We probably make a tracking squad, and Kurenai-sensei is cool too. She'll be able to teach us a lot, I guess. Shino is just Shino and Hinata is weird as always." Naruto went next and said, "Yeah, my team is an assault squad. I assume they want Sasuke to be the close combat. Sakura, I guess genjutsu, and if Kakashi breaks her fangirlish ideas, possibly taijutsu, and me for long-range support and medical capabilities, and my wolves for distraction and cover and frontal assault. Kakashi will be good as long as the council haven't threatened him to focus solely on the Uchiha." Hana, who graduated to Chunin earlier in the year, smiled at them both and went back to eating their dinner while their partners played around outside. Sume walked in and they started talking about where their ninja careers would lead them. The next day, at the training grounds, Naruto and his teammates were sitting around waiting for their sensei for around 2 hours. The only reason no one was complaining was because Sakura asked Naruto if he knew who their sensei was, as hard as it was to admit for her. Naruto was way smarter. Naruto then explained that he used to be the Hokage's guard and that unless it wasn't a mission above C rank he would turn up late. He also, having a feeling that they both didn't eat, gave them a bento box each, which they were grateful for. Not that Sasuke admit and Sakura wouldn't, but he could tell they were happy. He also said that they might as well get some extra sleep or warm up, but in the end they all had a little snooze. While they were snoozing, Naruto looked at Shomei and Masuto and did a couple of hand signs, and they took off into the forest to the left. He then did the same with Odoru and Senko, who went off in the opposite direction. Naruto leant back and closed his eyes, but not before 20 clones popped into existence and ran off, setting up numerous traps for their sensei. About 10 minutes later, each of the clones dispelled one by one, giving him all the information he needed to know. Sitting up, he opened his eyes in time to see Kakashi appear, waking up his teammates so they could hear the rules for the test. Kakashi then began to explain the belt test. When he finished, he set down a clock and said, "You have till midday in 2 hours to get the bells, and the test will begin when I say start." Waiting for a dramatic pause, he said, "And begin." All 3 of the genin disappeared into the forest and concealed themselves well. Sakura and Sasuke suppressed their chakra and Naruto used Kakurami no Jutsu, magic cloak of invisibility technique, to blend in perfectly with the background of the forest. In the clearing, Kakashi spreads his senses. Well, they're good at concealing themselves. Let's see, Sakura is in the bush over to my left. Sasuke up in the tree in front of me, and now where are you, Naruto? Very good using the Kakurami no Jutsu, but why is it that I knew something was up when I didn't see his wolves? They have set themselves up all around me. He thought ahead, and if I'm correct then he may have figured the test out, which also hint at the bentos I saw. So you are just like Kushina and Minato-sensei. He then created some clones that appeared in the forest near Sasuke and Sakura. Canon fights for Sasuke and Sakura, but after the Kakashi clone dispels, a Naruto clone helps them out. With Naruto seeing his teammates easily dispatched by their sensei, Naruto sends out a high-pitched whistle that only his wolves can hear to attack. He himself jumped out of the forest and confronted the real Kakashi and said, "You know, sensei, this is a little unfair, not because you took out my teammates that my clones are healing and helping as we speak, but you have to remember I am a medic, not a fighter, and I need to follow the laws Lady Tsunade created." Kakashi, who was listening, smiled under his mask, hearing that he was working with his team by doing his role as a medic. But not being a medic himself, he wasn't up to date with these rules, so he asked, "So Naruto, can you tell me these rules? Also, isn't I that is at a disadvantage seeing as I can now sense your partners around me now?" he said. Naruto smiled and said, "I'll tell you. Rule 1. No medic ninja shall ever stop medical treatment until the lives of their party members have come to an end. Rule 2. No medic ninja shall ever stand on the front lines. Rule 3. No medic ninja shall ever die until they are the last of their platoon. Rule 4. Only those medic ninja who have mastered the strength of 100 technique of the ninja art creation rebirth are permitted to discard the above-mentioned laws. And I agree with you on the last point as well. I do have you outnumbered, but we wouldn't be able to hold against you for the simple reasons: 1. You're faster and stronger. 2. You have more experience, and 3. My taijutsu revolves around dodging. My ninjutsu is practically useless as you would either copy it or would overpower it with your own jutsu. My fuinjutsu isn't at combat level, and if I used my wolves you would use your summons to counteract them. Really, I lose, you win. The real reason behind the test though is teamwork. So if you want to be a good sensei I can agree to a spar, but otherwise I think I'll hedge my bets on my teamwork theory and pass that way," he finished. Kakashi just stood there while Naruto analyzed and picked apart everything, and he was completely right as well. He then chuckled to himself and said, "You're truly one in a generation prodigy, aren't you? You're completely right though, the test was to test your teamwork and you pass because not only did you figure it out, you also had your clones help your teammates. But I would like to see your skills, so let's have a friendly spar, hey?" said Kakashi, putting his book away. Naruto got into a loose stance that would allow him to move and dodge at a moment's notice. Seeing Kakashi charge at him at reduced speeds, he managed to dodge reasonably easily and quickly ran through 2 hand signs Tori Ne and launched 5 needles from his mouth, surprising Kakashi as he dodged them with no effort, and pressed the attack again. This time Naruto was forced to block, which was the wrong move as he swore he heard his entire arm creak under the pressure of it. Jumping away and creating room, he did 2 more hand signs and said, "Ninpo, Dokugiri, Ninja Art, Poison Fog," and breathed out a large poisonous fog, making Kakashi retreat underground where it was safe. Letting the fog dissipate, Naruto jumped up into a branch, guessing Kakashi would try and do what he did to Sasuke. Not being able to locate Naruto, Kakashi emerged from the ground and said, "You weren't just helping your teammates after the fights, were you?" Naruto just shook his head and said, "No, I was watching how you fought, but unfortunately all I learned was that you were faster and stronger, and to top it off you weren't being serious, but it helped as you probably tried the same tactic you did on Sasuke." Kakashi nodded and threw some kunai at Naruto, who jumped out the way. Naruto was then quickly engaged in a taijutsu fight, cursing the whole time before whispering just loud enough so his sensei could dodge without being seriously hurt, seeing as it was only a friendly spar. Ninpo, Hirasuku Kasumi no Jutsu, Stinging Mist Technique. Hearing it, Kakashi had enough time to move, but he did get some of the stinging mist on his shirt sleeve, creating a hole in it. Kakashi then said, "Genjutsu, Shibari," paralyzing Naruto so he couldn't move. Kakashi walked over to him, ruffled his hair and said, "You really are good. But if you used your wolves it may have been a different outcome. Well, I may have had to increase my speed to that of a high chunin instead of low chunin," he said. Naruto just nodded and said, "Yes, can you now undo the genjutsu, as I know you can't undo it since it is a paralysis technique?" Kakashi chuckled and undid it for him and said, "Well, let's tell Sasuke and Sakura the good news then. Oh, and before I forget, the third wants to talk to you after this." Naruto just nodded and followed his new sensei. Back at the posts in front of the memorial stone, Kakashi told them they all passed thanks to the teamwork shown in Naruto figuring out the meaning of the test. He then went and looked at the stone and said, "Do you know what this stone is?" They all looked at him weirdly until Naruto spoke. "Sume and Hana told me about it, something to do with our village heroes." Kakashi nodded and said, "They're a special type of hero, though they are all Kia." This caused the group to gasp a little. Kakashi then said, "Our village is founded on the will of fire and teamwork. So remember this, those that break the rules are scum. But those who abandon their comrade are worse than scum. Just remember that," he finished before disappearing, quickly followed by a smirking Sasuke and a starry-eyed Sakura. Naruto though walked over to the stone and looked for anyone with the name Uzumaki to give him a hint as to who his parents might be. Kneeling in front of the stone, he scanned down each line until he came to the 10th of October 13 years ago, one name that stood out from all the others. It read, Elite Jonin Kushina Uzumaki. Seeing as that was the only name on the list of names, he deduced that it had to be his mother. Staying in his knelt position, he cried for the first time in 10 years. With the Hokage. After getting the reports of all the Jonin, Sume Inuzuka walked through the door of his office and sat down. Hiruzen then said, "He isn't here, which is weird. Hold on, I'll get out my crystal ball and look for." Hiruzen on the outside looked calm, on the inside was a whole other story. He was near freaking out. Today was the day he told Naruto about the 9 tails sealed in him. Sume and Hiruzen, both looking at the crystal ball, found Naruto kneeling in front of the memorial stone crying. Already knowing why, he looked at Sume and said, "He had to take after his parents in the brains department, didn't he? But this may make it easier to tell him." Sume looked at Naruto crying and thought, "Kushina. Minato, give him strength. You would be so proud of him. He is everything you said he was going to be." She looked at the weathered cage and nodded, and both of them shunshined to the memorial stone. Kakashi, who forgot to tell the Sandaime something, returned only to see Naruto knelt in front of the memorial stone crying. Then, remembering whose name was on it, paled a little and took off to the memorial stone as well. At the memorial stone, the wolves, seeing their partner crying, went over to him and started trying to comfort him in any way they could. It was then that the Hokage and Sume arrived. Sume, letting her maternal instincts kick in, pulled Naruto into a hug and told them the third would explain everything. Calming down, Naruto looked at the Hokage and said, "Gigi, is she really?" Sarutobi nodded his head. "Yes, Naruto, she was your mother, but know this, during her pregnancy and when she first heard that she was going to be having you, she was the happiest I had ever seen her. She, just like you, was like a granddaughter to me. It broke my heart to see her lying on the ground, cold, void of life, holding you close to her. But there is another thing you must know. I'm sure you know about the seal on your stomach." All he got was a nod. "And you know about seals, can you tell me about the seal on your stomach?" Naruto sighed and croaked out, "The seal on my stomach is called the Shikifu Jin, dead demon consuming seal, which summons the Shinigami and when completed takes the soul of the user, combined with the Hake no Fuin Shiki, 8 trigram sealing technique, which is 2 Shisho Fuin, 4 symbols seals, merged together. The Shikifu Jin was used to store something powerful inside, and the Hake no Fuin Shiki is used to hold it inside. Half of the seal converts something and the other half takes my chakra to keep the seal active." "You don't mean, wait, it's so simple. My birthday is the day the Kyuubi attacked. So the seal on my stomach hold the Kyuubi no Kitsune, therefore making me a Jinchuriki, a human sacrifice. Good thing I know how the seal works, sort of, otherwise I might have thought I was a demon. Hey. I have one question though," finished Naruto as he stood up, leaving the warm motherly hug he was getting from Sume. Hiruzen smiled and thought, "Thank the Kamigami, he is a genius on par with his father." He then said, "And your question, my boy?" he asked. "Well, now I know that I am a Jinchuriki. Why me?" he asked. Hiruzen then said, "Well, according to what the Yondaime said before the sealing, he said that a newborn was needed as their chakra coils were still pliable and could grow steadily over time to accommodate the extra chakra from the demon. That, and you were the only newborn, born that day." Naruto just shrugged, hearing that, figuring it was something like that. He then said, "Now I know my mother. Do you have any photos or anything that she may have left for me? Oh, and who is my father? I guess he may have died that night as well, said Naruto. Hiruzen smiled sadly and said, I have some of her belongings sealed up in my office, but you have something of hers already. It's Sakabatui. She had it made and was going to pick it up the day after the Kyuubi attack. And as to your father, I promised him on his dying wish that I would tell you until you received the rank of Jonin or Chunin or when you become 18 inches, he said. Naruto nodded at what he said and grabbed his blade out and held it close and smiled before saying, this is her way of protecting me even from the afterlife. 1 month later, standing in the missions assignment room, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and their sensei Kakashi were waiting for the third, who was handing out missions in the missions room. Next to him was Iruka, who was assisting him with said task. Picking up a piece of paper, the third looked at the missions. He then spoke, Team 7, your mission, we have several available tasks, among them babysitting, helping with the groceries, gardening. He was about to continue when he looked up only to hear Sakura shouting, give us a real mission, not kids stuff and chores, you old coot. Hearing this, Naruto sighed. She's got a point, but did she have to go about it by trying to deafen him? Well, that's a given. He then looked at Sasuke, him too, he really needs to rein in his emotions, I can read him like a book. Hiruzen chuckled along with the other staff members in the room and explained the mission ranking system. These jobs are divided into difficulty ranks of S, A, B, C and D and then given to ninja based on their ability. If the mission is completed successfully, the client will then pay the village. The easiest and least deadly jobs are given to the genin, these are called D rank. The D-rank missions also help to build teamwork skills among the new Ninja Academy graduates. D-rank are therefore non-combat with low pay. The C-rank missions will be given to Chunin and skilled genin. These include protective escorts and missions with some chance of bodily harm. It can include capturing wild animals and mine clearing. B-rank missions will be given to special Junin and Chunin. These also include protective escort, gathering foreign intelligence and killing of ninja. Open battle is generally not an issue during this mission type. The next highest ranked missions, A rank, are given to Junin and special Junin. These include vital missions between nations, escorting VIPs and maneuvers against offensive ninja forces. Thus these missions will almost always involve combat and risk of death. At the highest and most dangerous is S rank, given to Junin. These missions include assassination of important persons, transporting classified documents and materials. With the extreme danger comes a very high rate of pay. When he finished, he looked up to see Naruto leaning against the wall talking with Embutora. Sasuke glaring at the ground and Sakura staring at Sasuke, and Kakashi said, I think they are ready, Lord Hokage, so who's the client? Said a curious Kakashi. Hiruzen smirked around his ever-present pipe. Don't be so impatient. Tazuna, please come in now, he said. As he did, the Team 7 looked to the door on the left of the room. As it opened, an old man walked through holding a bottle of sake. He had gray hair, spectacles with a large beard and dark eyes. He wore a sleeveless V-neck shirt with an obi, pants and a pair of sandals. He was also carrying a towel around his neck and wore a pointed hat on his head. Seeing his escorts, said, What is this, a bunch of snot-nosed kids? He then took a swig of his drink and leant against the door frame and said, You expect me to believe you are ninja? One looks ready to commit seppuku. Another looks like a man dressed in drag, and the kid with the wolves looks like he couldn't fight a child. As he said that, Naruto's wolves started to growl and Odorikage said, Grrrh, listen here, you sorry excuse for a human being. You don't get how shinobi teams work, do you? Our master is the team's medic. He isn't expected to fight unless it is a last resort. The others are to do the fighting. Oh, and being medic means that while we travel he will be sticking to like a fly. Grrrh, said Odoru with a wicked snarl at the end. Shomei was about to continue on when Naruto spoke. Odoru, calm, he is just a civilian, do not let your anger cloud your judgment. Tazuna-san, do not insult a wolf or his family, cause next time it may end messily for you, he said in a condescending tone at the end, making Tazuna gulp. Kakashi sighed and said, Naruto, you're not supposed to threaten the client. Naruto nodded and appeared by his sensei's side. Getting over his shock, Tazuna spoke. My name is Tazuna, I am a master bridge builder and I must return home to my country. I am building a bridge there that will change our world, and I expect you to get me there safely, even if it means giving up your life. With that he left, saying, meet me at the gate in 1 hour. Sakura stuck her tongue out at his back. Kakashi sighed and said, "He sure does have a way with words." Naruto didn't say anything and Sasuke humphed. They were then interrupted by Hiruzen, who said, "Your mission is to guard and protect Tazuna to wave, then guard him while he builds his bridge." He paused, getting nods all round. Kakashi then said, "Right to the gate, seeing as we have everything." At the gate, seeing Tazuna, they all walked up to him and they headed off. As they left, Naruto said, "Him first time leaving the village walls, thought it would have more appeal to it." Sakura, who heard, said, "Really?" Naruto then turned and said, "Well, actually I would go into the forests, but I could always hear people talking on the other side, but this will be the furthest me and the pups have gone." Tazuna also heard him, said, "I have to rely on people who haven't been out of the village before. What a joke." Kakashi chuckled and said, "Well, no need to worry, they have studied the topography of every nation and are well in advance for their age in the shinobi arts, and if we run into any big trouble I'm a Jonin, so no need to worry." Tazuna just humphed and started walking. Sometime later, Sakura spoke, "Say, Mr. Tazuna." What was all he said? Ignoring his rudeness, she continued, "Your country, the land of waves, right?" "Yeah, what of it?" was his curt reply as they walked down the path. "Well, don't they have ninja there too?" was her question. Before Tazuna could answer, Kakashi did and said, "No, there are no ninja in the land of waves, but in other countries there are other hidden villages with different customs. To the people of the elemental nations, the existence of shinobi villages means strength, military strength. This is how major nations protect themselves and keep the balance of power. But there are 5 great nations: fire, water, cloud, earth and wind. Only the leaders of the villages in these nations are the name Kage, the Hokage, Mizukage, Raikage, Tsuchikage and Kazekage, the 5 shadows that reign over 1,000s of ninja." She finished. So the old geezer in the Hokage seat isn't just powerful, but he has influence and is a big deal, thought Sakura. Kakashi then said, "But you shouldn't be worried about other ninja in a C-rank mission, though more like common bandits." Walking along with Tazuna in the middle with Naruto next to him on his right and Sakura on the left and Sasuke leading the way and Kakashi-sensei taking up the rear, the 4 wolves spread out up ahead of them, Shomei on the path about 100 yards ahead, and the other 3 wolves in the surrounding forest looking for any ambush. They then heard Shomei howl eerily, causing Tazuna to shiver and the other to remember 7 years ago when they heard the mass howling of a pained animal. Naruto put his hand and said, "Stop." Shomei found a genjutsu up ahead, proceed with caution. Getting to where Shomei sensed the genjutsu, team 7 and Tazuna walked past. As they walked past, 2 figures appeared out of a puddle, only to be surrounded by 4 large wolves with their fangs bared. As they were about to jump away, Kakashi appeared and knocked the 2 out and proceeded to tie them to a tree. After tying them up, he gave each wolf a pat and Naruto chucked them a chunk of meat each that they started mauling. Kakashi started speaking, "They're Chunin from the village hidden in the mist, and they aren't known to give up no matter the sacrifice." One of the demon brothers spoke, "How did you know of the ambush?" Kakashi chuckled a little, "The wolf that howled earlier told us. You see, these wolves aren't ordinary." Kakashi turned to Naruto and said, "You know everything there is to know about the human body, can you get them to talk?" Naruto smirked and let his hand become engulfed in a pink hue after activating his chakra scalpels and said, "It goes against everything a medic stands for, but I can make the exception if it means we have more information to go off and it reduces the chance of a fatality," he said in a voice void of emotion. He then walked over to the nearest one and plunged his scalpel-ed hand into his shoulder where there is a juicy cluster of nerves. Gozu sat there. Seeing he didn't get a reaction, Naruto attacked his first lumbar and sacral nerves at the same time, making the man scream in pain. Naruto stood and said, "I have pierced some very sensitive nerves that will put you in much pain. Now tell us, who do you work for, and I will heal you up as good as new." Gozu, who was a whimpering mess, nodded and his partner just watched, shocked at how quick his bro was brought down to his current level. Kakashi wasn't disturbed and looked on Sasuke, and Sakura had to turn away in case they lost their lunch. Gozu then spoke, "We work for Gato, who hired our boss Zabuza to off the bridge builder. Please, that's all I know, make the pain stop." Looking at his sensei, Kakashi nodded and Naruto went about healing Gozu so he wasn't in pain. Kakashi, while Naruto was healing Gozu, interrogated Tazuna, who spilled everything to him. In the end, he asked the genin for what they thought. Naruto said he would go just so he could heal anyone who was sick and to possibly put a stop to Gato's men. Sasuke said he wanted to test himself and pointed out how bad it would look if they just turned away a client, and Sakura agreed with Sasuke, but secretly she was going for possibly the same reasons as Naruto, not that she would be much help. Kakashi then said, "Well Tazuna, there you have it, we will see this mission through then." Tazuna was just beside himself with happiness. In a gloomy forest shrouded in mist, a cone-shaped treehouse resided inside the building. We see a Gato with a bodyguard facing Zabuza Momochi and 3 kneeling missing Kiri ninja. He started shouting, "You failed! You failed! What is this amateur night? I put out big money for you. I thought you were supposed to be hotshot assassins." Zuabuza, hearing enough, grabs the handle of his sword and levels it with Gato's throat and tell him to stop whining and says, "This time I will go personally and this sword will be the last thing they ever see." Gato then stutters. "Are you sure about that? Tazuna has a high-level ninja guarding him, and since your first attempt failed they will be expecting more attacks. We'll take someone with very advanced skills." "Who do you think you're dealing with? I am Zabuza Momochi, demon of the hidden mist," was Zabuza's retort. On a boat going over mist-shrouded waters, they're headed for the land of waves. Naruto then whined, "This fog is so thick I can't see a thing." The others ignored him and stayed in their positions. Then the boatman spoke, "The bridge isn't far now. Our destination is just up ahead now, the land of waves." Just as he finished speaking, the bridge came into view. "Whoa, nice bridge, it's huge," said Sakura quietly to Kakashi, who was sitting next to her. 5 minutes later on shore. Walking down another path in the same formation as before came to a lakeside that the trail followed when Masuto came bounding out of the bushes and howled, calling the others, and said, "Naruto-chan, I caught a glimpse of someone shadowing you guys, but when I investigated they substituted with a white rabbit." Hearing that, Kakashi said, "Alright guys, be careful." As he said that, the other wolves bounded out of the undergrowth as well and stood either side of Naruto. It was then that his sharp ear picked up a whirring sound. Looking in the direction, he saw a huge sword flying at them and shouted, "Get down!" As he did, he tackled Tazuna. The wolves flattened themselves to the ground. Kakashi pulled Sakura down and Sasuke hit the deck. Looking up, they saw a huge sword stuck in a tree with Zabuza in his cow camo gear. No wonder the brothers failed. It's the copy ninja from the village hidden in the leaves, Kakashi of the Sharingan. When Kakashi saw him, that must be, well, if it isn't Zabuza Momochi Rouge ninja from the village hidden in the mist. Naruto and his wolves along with Sakura and Sasuke took up a defensive positions around Tazuna. Kakashi then said to his genin, "Don't get involved in this. This guy is in a whole other league to the last time, and if he's our opponent I'm going to need this," he said, lifting his headband revealing his Sharingan. When Zabuza saw it he said, "Kakashi of the Sharingan, did I get that right? And I get to see the Sharingan right off the bat. I'm honored. It's too bad, but you'll have to hand over the old man." Sakura then butted in and asked, "What is the Sharingan that everyone keeps talking about?" Naruto replied for his sensei so he could concentrate and said, "The Sharingan, literally means, copy wheel eye, is the dojutsu Kekkei Genkei of the Uchiha clan that appears selectively among its members. It is regarded as one of the 3 great dojutsu, Sandatong Shu, Sandaidojutsu, the others being the Byakugan and the fabled and mythical Rinnegan. To gain the blessed eyes of the Uchiha clan, an Uchiha has to experience a powerful emotional condition with regards to a person precious to them. Their brain releases a special form of chakra that affects the optic nerves, transforming the eyes into Sharingan. For that reason the Sharingan is described as an eye that reflects the heart, Kokoro o Utsusu Hitomi, Kokoro o Utsusu Hitomi, according to the first Hokage. Often, as per the Uchiha's so-called curse of hatred, according to the second Hokage and Madara Uchiha, this emotion is a negative one, brought on by stress or loss. However, the emotion can also be positive, driven by a desire to protect or reunite with a loved one. But there are 2 aspects to the eye and so much more, but either me, Sasuke or Kakashi-sensei can tell you that later, as I don't want to give Zabuza an edge in this fight." He finished smiling at Sakura. Zabuza then spoke up again, "You got it right boy, but you only scratched the surface of it. The Sharingan can analyze an opponent's technique and copy it down to the smallest detail." Then an ominous mist rolled in. "As for you Kakashi and the assassination unit of the Hidden Mist, we had a standing order to destroy you on sight. Your profile was in our bingo book. It called you the man who copied over 1,000 jutsu. Kakashi the copy ninja." Zabuza then said, "Ninja art. hidden mist jutsu. And then the mist thickened, obscuring everyone's sight. A cannon fight, but Naruto stays back and guards Tazuna with the wolves while Sakura distracts and Sasuke attacks. Leaning against a tree with kunai sticking out of him, Kakashi is about to deal a killing blow when two needles hit him in the neck, killing him. When Zabuza hit the ground, Naruto appears next to him and checks for a pulse, as does Kakashi. They then look up and see a hunter from the hidden mist taking in her appearance of the standard Kirigakure pinstriped outfit which stopped at her knees. Over this she wore a green haori with white trimmings, and around her waist a brown sash with a fringed trail wrapped around his waist twice. She also wore light brown platoon sandals with straps in the same color as her kimono and nail polish on her fingernails and toenails in matching blue-green color. On her face wore a hunter ninja mask on top of her forehead protector, which was white with thin, curved eye holes and a red wavy design in place of the mouth, as well as the Kirigakure symbol etched in the top. Her hair was in a bun with two long strands framing her masked face. Naruto stood up and said, "He's dead, he has no pulse or anything." Stepping back, Naruto and Kakashi allow the hunter near the body. When she reaches the body she quickly grabs it and disappears. Seconds later, Naruto, "Damn it, why didn't I see hunter? Don't take the body, they dispose of it." Sasuke then said, "What are you talking about?" Naruto, turning to his teammates and sensei, said, "He was in a death-like trance. You see, if you hit certain points in the body you can put people to death but bring them back minutes later once the enemy has passed. It was used a lot in the wars. Zabuza is still alive." When he finished, Kakashi collapsed, prompting Naruto to run over to him and run a quick diagnostic over him before sighing, "He's fine, he just overdid it a little, he has mild chakra exhaustion. He should be right as rain once I do this Chakra Tenso no Jutsu, chakra transfer technique." Holding a half-ram sign, he placed a hand on Kakashi's chest and watched as his chakra fed into Kakashi. A minute later Kakashi sat up, said, "Thanks Naruto." They then went to Tazuna's house where they would be staying. Somewhere in the forest, the hunter is kneeling over Zabuza and said, "First I'll cut the bandage and drain some of the blood." As she was about to reach for his bandages, Zabuza's hand grabbed the hunter's hand, then pulled down the bandages covering his face and said, "That's enough, I'll do it myself." The hunter giggled and said, "I see you're back from the dead." Letting Zabuza sit up, he said, pulling out the senbon, "Damn it Haku, you're brutal, you know that. You're the one that's brutal, Zabuza. If you keep pulling them out like that you really will be finished," retorted Haku. Zabuza, who ignored her, said, "How long are you going to wear that mask? Take it off," he ordered. Haku just did as ordered and removed the mask, revealing a pale, unblemished face with large chocolate-colored eyes. "I have such fond memories of this mask, and it was useful in tricking those ninja. If I hadn't intervened you'd be dead now, that much is certain," she replied calmly. "Putting me in a death-like trance is fine, but not through the pressure points in the neck, but cruel as usual. If I didn't know any better I think you enjoy it," said Zabuza. "It was the only way, and besides I didn't want to mark your flawless body, you would complain about that even more." Zabuza then tried standing up but couldn't. Seeing this, Haku said, "I wouldn't bother, you'll be numb for a week, but if I know you it will be half that." Zabuza just humped and said, "Just get me back to the hideout." The morning of Zabuza's attack, waking up with his team, they head off. As they were leaving he called, "Odoru, Sho, Sen, Masuto, stay here in case anything or anyone gets any ideas." The wolves nodded and went and laid down in the sitting room except Senko, who went to the kitchen to keep Tsunami company. Getting to the bridge they see all the workers knocked out. As they arrive an ominous mist rolls in. Seeing this, Kakashi sighs and says, "Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, guard Tazuna. Zabuza is back. Sorry I kept you waiting, but I see you still have your brats, and they are shaking in their boots. Pitiful," said Zabuza as 5 water clones appear surrounding them. Sasuke then smirks, drawing the attention of the clones before he says, "I'm trembling because I am excited," he said before disappearing and then reappearing in front of his team. When he does, the water clones disperse into nothing. As they did, Zabuza and Haku appeared. "So he isn't dead. Wait, I'm slightly impressed, but they were only 1/10 of my strength," Zabuza said. He then turned to Haku. "You might have a rival speed, Haku." "So it seems," was her reply. "It seems Naruto-kun was right, the hunter was fake. I guess you have done that little act before then," said Kakashi. Kakashi then continued and said, "The hunter is all yours, Sasuke, have fun," he said. With Zabuza and Haku. "Impressive," said Haku. I have given you the first advantage, use it, was Zabuza's reply. Haku just said right. And started spinning rapidly towards Sasuke, who smirked and drew a kunai. Getting in a defensive stance, he blocked Haku, who used a senbon to attack him with. So he can keep up with Haku's speed, huh? Thought Zabuza. Kakashi said to Naruto and Sakura. Can you protect Tazuna for me? I think I'll let Sasuke handle this one. While that was going on, both Haku and Sasuke were trading blows with each other until they locked up again. Haku then said, we only want the bridge builder, not you. If you don't hand him over, then I'll have to kill you, she said without any empathy at all. Save it, bitch, you're the one dying here, replied Sasuke. Haku ignored him and spoke again. You're making a big mistake, you can't keep up with my speed and I have gained 2 advantages. Hearing this, Sasuke just snorted. 1, we are surrounded by water, and 2, both your hands are occupied, meaning you can't defend yourself, finished Haku before running through some one-handed seals. What? No, it can't be using one hand, mentally ranted Sasuke. Very impressive, Zabuza, you have taught her well, a rare trait right there, thought Kakashi. Naruto and Tazuna and Sakura just stared at the fight. He might actually kill the kid, thought Zabuza. Finishing the hand signs, Haku said, secret technique, 1000 needle of death. She then stamped her foot and created thousands of water or ice needles above Sasuke, launching them at Sasuke. Haku jumps back, Sasuke also jumps but straight up, barely dodging the needle in the process, bringing up his kunai. He brings it down at Haku, who jumps back again, dodging his strike. Sasuke then appeared behind her and said, you're fast, but not that fast. Haku then moved to attack, only to have a sandaled foot courtesy of Sasuke to the face send her rolling across the ground to stop just in front of Zabuza. What is going on? Haku is the fastest, he shouldn't be able to land a hit on her, thought Zabuza, worried. Kakashi then started speaking. You shouldn't have insulted them, they don't take kindly to insults, especially since my Naruto is the best medic and sealer produced since Lady Tsunade and the Yondaime. Sasuke is the strongest up-front fighter of his generation and Sakura is the best at traps and cracking codes with an aptitude for genjutsu to come from the academy in over 50 years. It is just bound to get their blood boiling. Zabuza laughed a little, confusing them. He then said, Haku, get on with it, otherwise we will be the victims, was all he said. Haku just nodded and did some hand signs and said, secret technique, demonic crystal ice mirrors, when she said that a dome of mirrors surrounded Sasuke. At Tazuna's home, Shomei sniffed the air and smelled 2 unknown figures coming to the door and with Morse code signaled to his younger siblings to get ready. Senko tugged on Tsunami's skirt and had her follow her out back, while Odorikage and Mistoashi moved next to Shomei and waited. They didn't have to wait long until the door was cut apart, revealing 2 samurai. As soon as they saw them, Masuto stepped forward and let loose a supersonic howl utilizing Haringu Okami Hijutsu. Okami to Bo-e Jutsu, deafening the 2 samurai, distracting them enough for Odoru and Shomei to jump them. As they jumped, Odoru howled in triumph and snarled, I'm going to rip out your throat. Die. And with that, the eye patch one had his throat ripped out and gained matching set of claw marks on his torso. The other guy met much the same fate as his partner. Shomei turned to his brother and nodded. He then looked at Masuto and said, Lil sis, you and Sen stay here in case anyone else tries something, we will go see how father is doing. Ashi just nodded and howled a little, telling Senko what was happening. Back at the bridge, Naruto then gasped and said, That's impossible. The Yuki clan were wiped out in the purges. Kakashi looked at Naruto and said, What is it, Naruto? Naruto looked at him and said, she possessed the chakra-based Kekkei Genkei, the Hyeten or ice release. Only members of the Yuki clan or those native to the land of snow can use it, but the difference is the Yuki don't need an existing source of ice or snow to use their jutsu, he finished. Sakura looked worried and so did Kakashi. Naruto then said, Kakashi, does everyone have a gas mask with them? Kakashi then said, No, Naruto, you can't use the Dokugiri here. If the wind or anything changes, it will harm the civilians. Naruto sighed and nodded to Kakashi. Haku then spoke, Now I shall show you true speed. Kakashi, who was a little worried, took a couple of steps forward, was stopped by the appearance of Zabuza, who said, If you enter this fight, it will be against me. Besides, your boy has no chance in there. Kakashi took a couple of steps back to her original position with Zabuza between him and Sasuke. In the dome, Haku was throwing lots of senbon at Sasuke, causing him to scream out in pain. This continued for a couple of minutes until Sasuke's kunai was knocked from his hand and landed in front of Sakura, who grabbed it and threw it. Haku then stopped to intercept a kunai that Sakura threw as a distraction but was caught by Haku. Naruto then threw his sword and said, "Sensei, this may even it up for you against Zabuza. I trust you haven't forgotten how to use one." Kakashi laughed and grabbed the sword and said, "Well, this will be new. You know, Naruto, I have only used a katana proficiently, but this is a sakabatu," said Kakashi. Naruto just called out, "Just treat it like a katana." Just then Shomei and Odoru arrived by Naruto with their fangs dripping with blood. Naruto looked at them and said, "Are they safe?" They just nodded in response, and Naruto continued and said, "Help Kakashi-sensei with Zabuza, while I help Sasuke from the outside." The wolves nodded and ran to Kakashi. Naruto looked at Sakura and said, "Stay here, I'll help Sasuke." Sakura nodded. Running through some the hand signs Inu Tora Habi Saru, Kasumi Jusha no Jutsu. Then out of the shadows of the mist and mirror the ghost-like clones of Naruto appear and start enclosing on each mirror, slowly multiplying every time they're hit. Haku, knowing it isn't the Uchiha, sees Naruto standing there looking for an opening or something, not waiting for it to happen. Haku charges Naruto only to receive a punch to the face, sending her careening off semi-unconscious, making her lose control of her jutsu courtesy of a Naruto shadow clone. Seeing her jutsu down, Naruto runs over to Sasuke and activates his Shozen jutsu and starts pulling each of the senbon out of him and healing the small puncture wounds he has sustained. Kakashi, meanwhile, with the help of Shomei and Odoru and his summons, have Zabuza pinned, placing Naruto's sword in its sheath at his side. He fires up his Chidori and charges Zabuza. As he is about to thrust his lightning-covered fist through Zabuza's chest, Haku appears and takes the hit, killing her, while throwing senbon at the summoning scroll, dispelling the summons, and at Shomei and Odoru, forcing them to let go and dodge, giving Zabuza a chance to attack Kakashi, who can't get free. Jumping back, Kakashi places Haku's body to one side and is about to charge Zabuza again when Naruto appears by his side with an exhausted Sasuke. They then hear clapping coming from the far end of the bridge. Zabuza, letting the mist melt away, revealed Gato with around 100 goons behind him, says, "They did quite a job on you, didn't they, Zabuza? You look like yesterday's sashimi. I must say, though, I am disappointed." Zabuza then spoke, "Gato, what is the meaning of this? You see, Zabuza, I'm taking you off the pay list. You're just too expensive, and these bandits aren't cheap either, so if you could kill a few, that would be much appreciated," answered Gato. Zabuza then turned to Naruto. "Wolf boy, heal my arm." "Well, yeah, we are no longer enemies, but I would rather go into battle with my sword." Naruto passed Sasuke over to Kakashi and walked to Zabuza's side and healed his arms enough so he could use them, even if a little. Zabuza then picked up his sword and charged the bandits in front of him, hell-bent on killing Gato.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and do comments.